Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Citizen Schools Virtual Job Fair. Thank you for joining us today. We have an exciting agenda for you. Joanne, would you mind flipping to our next slide, please? So while we are waiting, we're just going to give folks 2 minutes just to log in. We have a bunch of participants already, so would love for you to just throw into the chat something that you're hoping to learn today during your virtual job fair. Awesome. I think we're going to get to a lot of these questions. We'll talk a lot about service. We'll talk a lot about the Makers and Mentors program. We'll definitely be talking about supporting students, which is really at the heart of what we do. And we want to show you all the different career paths that are available to you from a national service position. So with that, Joanne, I'm going to ask you to just move on to our agenda. Today, we're going to take you through a brief introduction of Citizen Schools. There's a video that will show you. It's just under 1.5 minutes. And then we're going to take you through a national service career panel. We'll talk about all 3 service positions, Maker Fellows, Teaching Fellows, and VISTAs. And then you'll have a chance to ask questions yourself. So we're going to do 3 rounds of Ask Me Anything style breakout groups, and we'll wrap up. So with that, we're going to play a quick video about Citizen Schools.
The mission of Citizen Schools is to ensure that all kids can thrive through access to real-world hands-on learning with industry experts. Yeah, the key to the equation for a healthy learning environment is making sure that learning feels relevant, it feels rigorous, and it feels connected to role models who can help kids navigate their pathways. The reality is our kids who we serve do not have access to the same set of opportunities or experiences or role models as middle-income and affluent students. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to democratize access to those resources in a way that gets them engaged in their learning. We want to influence the broader public around the role that hands-on learning with mentors can play in student success. When we get citizens off the sidelines and participating in education, we start to see transformative opportunities for our youth.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching that. I hope that gave you a little bit of an idea about Citizen Schools. And now I'm going to turn it over to Nadia Selby, who will introduce herself and our illustrious panel.
Hey everyone, Nadia K. Selby here. I am the Executive Director for Citizen Schools New York. I'm super excited to just kind of be a part of this event as a whole. This is literally our first time doing this, and it's like remarkable. As a former teaching fellow, AmeriCorps teaching fellow myself and service member, this kind of hits and rings really close to my heart. So I want to actually jump right in so we don't waste any time and have each of our panelists introduce themselves. And when you introduce yourself, panelists, can you please share your current title, your name, your name, your current title, where you work today, and a brief history of just like your national service at Citizen Schools. And we're gonna go in the order of the slide.
So I guess that means I'm first. Hi, everyone. My name is Kania, and I am a software engineer currently working at Wayfair. I am a former VISTA who served 2 years with Citizen Schools. In my first year, I worked on the Massachusetts regional team as the Civic Engagement VISTA, which was really doing a lot of like community engagement work. And then in my second year, I switched over to the national side of things and worked on in the marketing department as the Marketing and Communications VISTA. So I did 2 service years with Citizen Schools. Is that good?
Perfect, thank you. Over to you, Doug.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm Doug Williams. I'm a horticulturalist and landscape architect and social scientist. I've worked as AmeriCorps VISTA for nearly about 3 years. Did 2 years in Inglewood here in Chicago. Now I work for an organization with Citizen Schools. The organization here in Chicago is called Project Exploration, where we do STEM education for under-resourced communities. And we have now become the premier online servicer of STEM education, probably in the Midwest, if not even broader than that. I think I got everything. Did I? Okay.
I think I'm up next. Hi, everyone. My name is Sung Lee. I'm the Managing Director of Program out here in California for Citizen Schools. I was a former teaching associate, although I wish I was a teaching fellow. And then I moved on to becoming a deputy campus director, then a campus director, and now my position supporting some of our schools here in California. So I've had the benefit of working directly with 4 schools and now support 7 Bay Area schools here in California for our ELT model. I'm really excited to share what we do in Citizen Schools with y'all.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela de Pisa. I am a former teaching fellow. I'm also a former teaching associate. I started off as a TA, became a teaching fellow, then I was a deputy campus director, like Sung said, and now I'm a campus director in Somerville. I've been able to work with 3 schools here in Massachusetts, and still here, 7 years gone.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Alia Smith-Brown, and I am a Maker Fellow for Sierra College here in California. This is a new program, so I am just now starting out my national service, but I'm very excited for what's to come.
Thanks, Leah. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm the program director with Citizen Schools and the Makers and Mentors Network. I'm also an AmeriCorps VISTA alum, and I've collaborated with dozens of teaching fellows at Citizen Schools throughout my time here. And now I have the honor and privilege of helping us launch our new Maker Fellows program, which we're really excited to share some more about with you all today, where we'll be partnering with community colleges and historically Black colleges and universities across the country to strengthen connections with K-12 education systems and foster maker-centered learning. So really excited to see you all today and excited to share more about the program. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, panelists, just for jumping in there and sharing a bit about yourselves. But I want to start digging in a little bit so that we get to the meat of this. So as we know, Citizen Schools is a national service organization, and wanted to get a sense of why service? Why national service for you in particular, and why select the program that you did with Citizen Schools? And I want to kind of go to Alia, Angela, and probably Doug on this one.
All right, I'll go first. I chose national service because, sorry, my computer just froze. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can. Keep going.
Okay. I chose national service because I have a good passion for working with students and for kind of teaching them hands-on learning skills and making learning. So I thought this was a good opportunity for me to kind of expand that into more, not just a small group of people, but to make it a more of a wide community that I can help influence. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Alia. Angela, what about you? Why service and why national service with Citizen Schools?
I think it's a great question, because when I first started, I didn't start off with national service. I was a part-time, and I loved my school, and I loved like hearing about the fellowship and the amount of mentorship and connection you would get with the staff in the school, like working with teachers and admin and counselors. And then also on the Citizen School side, being able to work with the national department and thinking about all the layers of a nonprofit. I did not want to be a teacher, but I love working with youth and I love working with middle school. And so I think national service was my way to kind of really understand from the ground up, like what we're trying to do here. What is the Citizen Schools mission and what these schools need? And so service made a lot of sense for me in terms of that, for my commitment to the students and the organization after being there for a year.
Awesome, thank you. Doug, national service, and why VISTA with Citizen Schools?
Well, thanks for the question. It was a roundabout way. In fact, I like the flexibility of the position. It allowed me to take on other jobs, but also be right here in the city of Chicago with my aging parents at the time and still a little bit now. And so that flexibility was very critically important. I know the pay may not have been there, but the flexibility really makes a big difference. As an academic, there are three components to us. We do obviously teaching, research, but the bigger portion or the less known is service. And so a lot of my research is tied to service. And so one of the projects I was working on as a postdoc in the Department of Recreation, Sport, and Tourism was connected to the Chicago's Large Lot Program, where we were actually doing work around dollar lots and how the community was uplifting itself. And so this allowed me an opportunity to work directly with an organization that helped champion that with the city of Chicago, which was very important. Another thing that was important to me was having the opportunity to make other connections in the community at the grassroots level. You don't necessarily get to do that often in academia because of the pressures to produce research and a lot of teaching at that level. So this is really important to me.
No, thank you so much for those great answers. Service definitely is important. On to our next question for our panelists. How has your experience contributed to your growth in your career? And what skills did you develop that you continue to apply now within the field? I want to go to Brian, Kania, and Sung for this one. So Brian, kick us off.
Great, thanks, Nadia. Yeah, I feel like AmeriCorps VISTA had such a big impact on my career that I feel like I could talk about this all night. But I think that, you know, what's really great about committing to a service year is that AmeriCorps is inherently about building capacity in nonprofit organizations. And because of that, I think that you're really quickly put into positions that are a little bit higher level than maybe entry level positions may be. So you're learning on the job and developing skills from Jump Street. From your first day on the job, you're really learning and growing. In my VISTA year, I helped to develop a whole new way that we were engaging local higher education institutions to volunteer in middle schools in Newark, New Jersey. It had never been done before. I got to be entrepreneurial. I got to do outreach on my own and really build something from the ground up. I think that you also really have the opportunity to develop skills in, project management, in event planning and management, and I learned about grant writing for the first time. So I think overall, AmeriCorps has a really, great opportunity for you to invest in yourself and to really grow as a professional. And I still think I use skills every day that I developed during my VISTA year.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Kania, what about you? How has your experience contributed to your growth in your career?
Yeah, I think I want to reiterate exactly what Brian has said. What I really love about Citizen Schools and what I love about AmeriCorps and especially VISTA is that you have the ability to build capacity within an organization. And so you're able to contribute in a way that allows you to develop skills that are transferable once you move on to other organizations. So just as Brian has said, you're able to work on your project management skills, you're able to work on your communication skills, your event planning, and there's an entire myriad of different skills that you're able to work on and able to develop. And I think what's really special about Citizen Schools is that you have the ability to advocate for yourself in a way. So if something's not working for you, if there's something that you're a little bit more interested in when you join on as a VISTA or as a teaching fellow, you have the opportunity to say, here's where my interests are kind of aligned. Is there any way that I can kind of work on this particular work? And I think for me, that's what was really has led me to grow into my current position, is that I was doing my first service year. I did the civic engagement position, and that for me wasn't really aligned with what I wanted to do. And so they were like, we want you to be able to stay. What can we do to be able to like keep you here, but also keep you engaged in the work? And I was able to transfer over to HQ and work a little bit more in marketing, which kind of allowed me to get some more technological skills that has kind of like transferred over to what I'm doing now. So.
Thank you so much. And Sung, you've had such a unique experience in many different positions with Citizen Schools. So tell me about you. How has your experience kind of contributed to your growth in your career?
Yeah, so my experience with Citizen Schools has directly guided where I am in my path in my career. And I say that because I'm someone who really loves direct service and connecting with students. And I love being in the classroom as a teaching associate and being on campus as a campus director and deputy campus director. And so relationships were really important to me, and I valued all of that. I got to a point in my career where I felt like I wanted to make an impact at a different level and scale. So I took a step back and looked at education in our program in a different lens. And I was given the opportunity to take on the managing program director role here because I really wanted to guide our ELT, our extended learning time program here in California, into a new innovative direction. And I think COVID is kind of forcing us and allowing us to do that right now as we navigate all of the distance learning that's happening. And some of the skills that you will definitely learn as a teaching fellow or part of Citizen Schools is what we like to call 21st century skills. I'm going to plug that really quickly. So collaboration, communication, problem solving, innovation are things that we teach our students, but as a part of Citizen Schools, you learn that as well. You're working with multiple stakeholders, with the schools, the families, your own CS teams, volunteer teachers, we call citizen teachers. And communication is key, as you guys will find out. With partnering so many different stakeholders, you all have to be on the same page and know what's going on at the same time, and coordinating, even more so now. And problem solving and innovation, something we are seeing firsthand that we have to navigate through right now, and excited to take on that challenge. So I'm super thankful to have been able to learn all these skills through Citizen Schools and continue learning.
Thank you, Sun, for just sharing that. So I want to hear a little bit about, advice you would have for potential service members, especially those as they think about, Citizen Schools. It sounds like it's all about being in the classroom and so forth and leading in that way. I want to hear from two different perspectives on, what advice do you have for service members who don't want to become teachers, and some who actually do, and some who want to go into teaching and some who don't? So Doug, can you share a little bit about what advice do you have under that?
Well, I like to use a quote that Dr. Maya Angelou always promoted. She says, all knowledge is spendable currency depending on the market. And with that, I would like to say that whatever you learn, all the networking that is going to take place, all the grassroots, the building of trust, the different connections and nuances, particularly under the certain circumstances that we have right now. I never thought I would be online as much as I am now, but I'm learning how to maneuver that, but also still building those relationships. I think we're forever learners, so you are pretty much forever a teacher in some form or fashion. It may not be in that particular classroom setting, but even as a mentor, your neighbors, your friends, your nieces, your nephews, your children in the future, what have you, you're all going to have that connection. So I wouldn't say you throw away one part to bring in something new, but it's just in addition to, and an add-on and an appendix to what is the next step. So if it's about process and procedure, it builds your tool set. It's all important and critical to your future. Now, if you don't want to, obviously in each state or each teaching area, if it's K through 12, there's certain requirements and certifications that you have to meet. But if not, then you are under some of the other organizations that surround education for those groups in some form or fashion. And so you can make use of your skill set there as well.
Doug, I appreciate that. And I think you kind of hit on just some of the differences already between the teaching fellowship and what it means to be a VISTA and capacity building on that side, whereas the teaching fellowship, you're just like directly in the classroom working with students, but capacity building, you're also thinking, you're working with an organization to think about how do you increase or enhance a lot of the work that they're doing, that when you leave, they can continue to do this work that you develop. So thank you so much for sharing that. Sung, let me hear from you. If I did want to go into teaching or so forth, what advice do you have for me in joining this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a great quote like Doug just shared with us, but one thing, you know, we are always in need of good teachers. And so I highly encourage you to apply to be a teacher after your service. I've worked with a district here in San Jose, California for 5 years, and we have a 100% hiring rate within that district because our school partners and principals really value the experience that our teaching fellows bring to a classroom after 2 years of service. And so they know the quality of program that we bring and the efforts that we will put forth as a teacher. So they just really appreciate the experience. You're not counted as like that first year teacher. So for those of you who don't want to become teachers, I always have a conversation, especially being in the Silicon Valley, working with tech companies and some of our volunteers. They're always saying, oh, you're such a saint, you're in education, you're doing the good work. But I always like flipping it back to them. And I always say the work you're doing, whether it's creating code or platforms or games, are directly correlated with the work we're doing in education. We're using your code to teach our students. So, you know, whether you choose to stay in education or become a teacher, I hope that you take your experience through Citizen Schools working with students in the community and bring an education lens to whatever work you do end up doing, so that you can bring it back to your experience here and still continue providing support for the students that you work with. Got
it, thank you. You know, sticking with the advice for service members, I got another question, and this one is a little hard. So as a former service member, I know it hits really close to my heart, but we know the service members receive stipends. What advice do you have for service members in terms of what it means to kind of live and make ends meet through this stipend? Angela, what about you? What thoughts do you have for service members there?
Yeah, so the stipend's a stipend, right? Like, it's low for a reason. You're entering into service. I think for me, I'm going to be honest with everybody here. I was thinking about this. I was a waitress. I waitressed before. I'm from the Boston area. I had a job that I kept. And if you have a situation like that you already have a job, or you are like, you write or you do anything online, I have fellows that do other things, but that's the lifestyle I wanted. I was looking to buy a car. Like, I had different goals. It all depends on what goals you have coming in to this, because there's a lot of things that you can get out of it as well. Like, the service members are very well supported when it comes to health insurance, food stamps, SNAP benefits. There's a lot of things that come along with it, like T-passes in Boston, rather. Like, I'm speaking towards the Boston's perspective, not California. But I think you really have to and I really think it gets you to learn more about the community too, and what resources there, like, really gets you to be like, I'm living here, I'm going to make this work because I'm supporting the community. And it really connects you more with like how you would support, like, in your program, in your school, right? Like, you could be like, I go to this grocery store, I go here, and this is what I'm able to do. And I think you just got to be really smart about it. And like, in the Ask Me Anything, you can ask me more questions about that and I'll definitely answer. But you have to be really smart and be in a community and have lots of potlucks, and you're close with your cohort. And if there's free food, you take it, and you bring Tupperware on you all the time.
Thank you so much. I want to hear from someone else on this. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think Angela did a great job getting that experience. I think that, when I think about committing to an AmeriCorps year with Citizen Schools, really think about it as an investment that you're making, an investment in yourself, and an investment in your local community. And I think Doug's Maya Angelou quote was great there when you're thinking about all the currency that you're developing through this investment, right? You're developing skills, AmeriCorps is critical, if you're pursuing any sort of career in the social sector. It's really like a badge of honor to say you've done a service here. But then, of course, not to speak in hyperbole too much here, there is the rubber meets the road, and you are living on a stipend. I had 3 roommates. As Angela said, lots of Tupperware, but there's lots of great resources out there too that AmeriCorps really supports members. You're part of this large community. There's 75,000 active AmeriCorps members across the country, and then you're part of a community here at Citizen Schools as well, and we're really here to support you throughout the way.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate, as Emily just said, I definitely do appreciate a lot of the honest feedback and the thoughts that you all are providing. Want to move into our final question and just ask a few more people this last piece before we move into the Ask Me Anything, where we have our guests who would be able to ask you all more deeper questions in breakout groups. So I want to say this, and close on this part, how did you know that national service with Citizen Schools was the right opportunity for you in particular? Alia, what about you? Why Citizen Schools to choose to do your national service with?
So for me, I've been working at my college now for a couple years in developing kind of maker-centered learning for faculty to bring to their students. And so they're kind of incorporating, maker-centered learning into the projects that their students are doing. And we've seen a lot of growth in that in our college. And so when I heard about the Maker Fellowship coming to our college and me having the position of being able to do that with a wider community and not just within our college, I thought that was a really good opportunity in order to kind of bring that maker-centered learning into the K-12 schools and show them that there's different options of learning and different ways that they can kind of see a future in different workforces and everything. So that's why I chose the Maker Fellowship as a good option.
Thank you so much, Alia, and I'm super excited to have you join our team. What about you, Kania? Why this opportunity of national service with Citizen Schools in particular?
Sure. So before joining Citizen Schools, I had a friend who did the National Teaching Fellowship. And at the time, I was working in retail, and on my lunch breaks and on my days off, I would go visit her on her lunch breaks and just see the work that she was doing in the school and being able to connect with the students. I was able to help lead some of her lessons in the afternoons. And it was really cool experience to be able to see how hands-on it was, working with students who are particularly underserved. And I saw an opportunity to be able to kind of work more directly with volunteers and being able to get a diverse set of volunteers into the classroom with Citizen Schools. And so I took that opportunity. And I think about national service as a way to give back to your community, but also kind of develop skills while if you're thinking about transitioning, or if you're in a limbo state and you're wanting to kind of develop some skills. I think national service is a really great way to be able to do that while also being able to do really great impactful work.
Thank you so much, Kania. And for our final thoughts on this, Angela, what about you? National service with Citizen Schools, how did you know it was the right opportunity for you?
I think I got a little bit of an edge here because I was able to be in a school for a year and see the coaching I was going to get, see what other teaching, I literally got it all in front of my face, right? I could see what it was like to go. I was actually in ways jealous that I would go in at 12 and everybody would come in at 8, which is crazy for me to be jealous about that. But I was jealous that they would be able to interact with students and mine was in the after school. And I was just if only I could be there in the morning, then I could do all of this. And so I think to be able to see like really like it's such a learning and growing place. And the fact that I came in not wanting to be a teacher, I could speak Spanish, which helped me, and just like ready to learn and just like be in it, and like people would like give me feedback, and like I feel like supported, like a warm blanket kind of, I'd call it, like just a hug. And so I think that's when I was like, national service will work for me, right? Like I can make mistakes. I can suggest that I want to do this project. I can be like, I see these students and they're not getting the support, or they're not getting access to this, and like sort of like make things work in ways, you know, like, and be a part of a team, like a growing and learning team. And so I think that's why for me that worked, like the environment beyond everything, those 21st century skills that Sung really spoke to, like he's right, like that kind of comes through every day in your work in all different pockets. And so being able to do it full-time instead of part-time really sold it for me.
Awesome. So I definitely do want to use this opportunity to just give a huge thank you to our panelists as we are about to transition.
We just want to give you a quick overview of the Citizen Schools programs. So you would be able to support these 3 programs through your work with national service. And through that, you'd be working with schools, teachers, and communities. The other aspect of this, if you haven't heard about it in your breakout groups, is that we also work with volunteer career mentors who will help students connect with what they're learning in school to the things that will really impact them in real life. So that includes critical skills and building confidence. And our goal is ultimately, through all 3 of these programs, to provide real-world hands-on learning. So the 3 models are expanded learning time, which is through our after-school apprenticeships. And through that, students are actually able to see new career pathways for themselves. And then the Catalyst model we've actually had for the last 3 years, which includes hands-on learning. It's standards aligned units with science, and they work directly with science teachers who are matched with STEM career mentors to deliver that curriculum. And so the Maker Fellows program that you heard about today is the part of the Makers and Mentors Network, which is systems level advancement of STEM mentorship and maker-centered learning. Ultimately, our goal with that is to build a more diverse workforce for the future. Joanne, can you move to the next slide, please? So in closing, if you are ready to apply right now, you can go to careers.citizenschools.org. All of our open positions are on there. And then if you still have questions, feel free to email us at info@citizenschools.org. All of our talent business partners will get that email and will respond to you quickly with answers. And finally, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to drop an exit ticket link in the chat here. It just takes 2 minutes. Tell us a little bit about what you thought of the session and how we can help you next. So thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you
too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.